Meet Terry and Carrie. They want an RV. Really, they want the freedom that comes with being able to pick up whenever they want and to move from one breathtaking view to another. The kind of freedom that takes them across the country and beyond, living their dream. But if they buy the wrong RV, it might actually pop their dream world. Maybe they pick one that's too heavy to tow for their vehicle, or go with the wrong dealership who won't service their RV. There are questions to ask before they buy, and even more once they become an owner. Thankfully, there's the RV Advisor, the only non-biased platform for information for the RV and outdoor enthusiasts. Get the best tips, tricks, and discounts at all KOA nationwide campgrounds and other huge discounts that every RV enthusiast will love. Now, Terry and Carrie are living the life exactly how they want. Join the RV Advisor family and enjoy everything you need to maximize your RV experience.
Little birdie told me I'd need RV advice.
Get information straight from the horse's mouth.
Little birdie told me I'd need RV advice.
It's Just Ask Gigi with Gigi Stetler and Tom Alexander. Now here's Gigi and Tom.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Just Ask Gigi. My name is Tom Alexander, and of course, as always, I'm joined by the one, the only.
Hi.
There she is, Gigi Stetler. Hey, Gigi, how are you?
I'm grand. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. A lot better than I was yesterday.
Yeah, I heard you had some plumbing issues.
little issue, but we've overcome that obstacle, and we're dry once again. You had some issues last time we were on, and you had some
God, we
flooding
still do.
and St.
We still do. We're still underwater. The whole front, the whole street to get to the dealership is underwater. Cars are broken down in the street. They can't get through.
Lake Gigi, huh? Is that what it is?
It's been a mess here. Yeah.
I'm telling you. Oh man. So, well, here we are, and I know that there's a lot going on, and I know you have some interesting stuff to share about how the RV Advisor is, as you put it, making a dent in the industry.
Yeah. I just real quick. I just recently a member hired me, GPS, and they were interested in a fifth wheel, and he was very happy that about the deal that he got, and he did take my advice, and had found this somewhat close to home. He was actually looking at two different units at two different locations and stuff, and asked my opinion on which I thought was the better situation. And just in review of the two contracts that the dealers had, I was against the one and was more favorable to the other one, but that doesn't mean anything until you actually get there and physically look at the camper and stuff like that. So long story short, he had an appointment at 3:00 to go look at the fifth wheel and to make a decision and to sign the paperwork. So I went on their website and I I found the unit, and I realized it was a 2020, which is fine. And so I alerted him that a 2020 camper was manufactured most likely somewhere between April, May, June of 2019. So, it had been sitting around for a while, and it was a Forest River product. And just knowing that, and everyone needs to be alert, because it's not just Forest River, but all manufacturers, they don't come with any sealant. As we've had this conversation many times, they don't come with any sealant. So you got to think about something that's sitting on a dealer's lot for 14, 15, 16 months with no sealant. That's a problem. Or could be a problem, especially when the manufacturer's telling you that it needs to be sealed within 90 days of purchase. But it's very unclear as to whose purchase, the dealer's purchase or the consumer's purchase.
Right.
If it's the consumer's purchase, well, 90 days after they buy it, it could be now 2 years old, with no caulking. So in any event, The member wanted to, well, he asked me if it was okay to let the dealer know that he was seeking advice from me and the RV advisor.
Mhm.
And and asked if it was okay to tell them. I said, absolutely. I want them to be afraid of me. I want them to respect my members. So I guess he alerted them. And anyway, long story short, so I said, all right, well, when you get there, you FaceTime me and I want to look at this vehicle. So it was inside in the showroom, and we FaceTimed through the whole coach. And, I noticed that, there was no caulking, and there was missing places of caulking, and, a few things like that. And, in the contract, it says, basically, if you were to sign the contract, it says that you've inspected the vehicle and you've accepted it in its as-is condition. So obviously, well, he didn't know about looking at that kind of stuff. Everybody looks at it. It looks pretty. The carpet looks clean. It looks fresh, So anyway, after the whole FaceTime and looking at all the seals and everything, and so he discussed with the dealer, and I told him that they need to do a complete seal on it. And they, a couple of things I had him check, make sure there was no water intrusions and things like that, on FaceTime. And he was able to, the dealer gave him everything he wanted. And we were able to cross that off the contract, or not give him, money until all of those things were accomplished. So basically he was able to cross that off, that he has not accepted it in its current condition until he does a full final walkthrough. So I'm just so pleased that, that people, that maybe dealers are starting to somewhat want to be accountable. And, hats off to this dealer to take care of this customer. Now, he hasn't picked it up yet, but I believe that's happening this week. But at least the customer's not going to be out a $5,000 or a $10,000 deposit that's non-refundable if something should go wrong.
Right. Wow. That's great. Well, that's really great. Accountability. Imagine that. That's fantastic. Wow. That's really, really good news. So, yeah. Well,
so I was just kind of excited to share that. And actually the best words that I can hear is when, just before we hung up on the phone, he says, this is the best $350 I think I've ever spent. Which, and he still has me for the rest of the year for anything else. But, people, it's kind of, people are wondering, like, why should I pay $350? Why, and there's so many things in this RV space. There's so many things. It's impossible to know everything. And, being that I've been on every side of this. And another funny story. Yesterday, I had a couple, a police officer called me in reference to a camper, and he had actually saw an ad on Facebook, I guess, Camping World, and they had gone to Camping World and looked at a camper, and this was before even knowing that I was here, and he lives in our neighborhood, and long story short, of course, they did the usual bait and switch, and he drove all the way up there, and it wasn't the camper that was online, and it was a different stock number, and it was a different price, and it was a different this, and it was a different that. And they had filled out a credit app online, and they ran their credit and put a ding on their credit, and they didn't even have a unit picked out. So don't do that, people. Do not do that until you're ready to buy, because you are going to take a 9 to 10 point hit, okay, on a hard inquiry on your credit. Number one. So the guy didn't know that I was here, but anyway, long story short, they drove up from Miami last night, and they are complete newbies, knew nothing about nothing, had an idea of wanting a fiberglass trailer just because it's shiny and pretty and white, and thought it was easier maintenance. And by the time I was done with them, and after a few hours of spending time with them, and actually she had brought up something like, well, I remember hearing things like that about this company, the RV Advisor, and she had no idea that was me. And so,
wow, there you go.
Yeah.
Guess
and,
what?
yeah. And they had actually saw some RV Odd Couple YouTube videos and saw some of our YouTube videos. Never put two and two together, until actually like a bell went off and she's like, wait, you're Gigi.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
So
Yeah.
anyway, it was really funny. So she
Awesome.
got the one-on-one personal tour with me last night, and I really do enjoy, dealing one-on-one with customers, because you learn a lot. And what I learned from listening, to these buyers as newbies, I hope to pass on to other newbies, so that we can, steer them in the right direction. Because I told you before, it's very scary that they, when you walk onto a dealer's lot, they've got you wrapped around their finger and can sell you anything
Yeah.
they want. I could have sold them anything I wanted, but I sold them what they needed.
Right.
So anyway,
yeah.
that's
No, you got them squared away, and that's great. If you have a question for Gigi that falls into that category, and I'm sure there are many of them, just visit the RVadvisor.com. Gigi, we're going to take a quick break. We got a couple of questions for you, as we always do every week from viewers, and we'll do that right after this commercial word. Back in a moment. The ACA is a charitable organization protecting the rights of RV owners. With your help, we'll work with dealers and manufacturers to ensure quality controls in place prior to delivery of an RV. Additionally, the RVACA provides assistance to disaster relief victims. Visit rvaca.org. We're back on Just Ask Gigi, along with Gigi Stetler. I'm Tom Alexander. And Gigi, a couple of questions for you. This first one is from Bill. Bill wants to know, he is, sadly, he's a widower now. He just became a widower recently.
I'm sorry.
Single and wanting to know about, he's a first timer, and he's looking, and he wants to know, because he's on a little bit of a budget.
Okay.
About something to start out with. Now, I know that we've had this question before, and oftentimes you say, why don't you rent something first? What might be something, a good choice for him, someone on a budget who's single?
He needs GPS, and because it's just such an it's open-ended, and I would probably personally like to get more background on him, and his needs and wants and wish list, and because sometimes people think they want something and they don't know what they want. But I would, because I need to know a lot more about him before I can really give a good answer.
Sure.
So I would love for him to join and be a member, and let me try to guide him into purchasing the right vehicle. I mean, renting may not be the right thing for him, but there's so many wonderful things. As a single, there's so many singles groups out there, nomads that kind of just wander, and
Right.
home is where you plug in, and you really can enjoy the next stage of your life. Anyway, I would love for him to reach out to me.
There you go. All right, Bill. There you go. Thanks for your question. And we have another one from John. And this is interesting, because I actually don't think we've had this specific question before. And I'm guessing, before I ask the question, this is just me thinking, my guess is it's going to be contingent on condition. And here's the question. What is your rule of thumb when buying a used unit? How many years back do you generally go? What's the cutoff?
It doesn't matter. I mean, if it's motorized, I don't really have a cutoff. I mean, we recently sold a 1992 Class C motorhome that had been well cared for, 180,000 miles on it. So it just depends on how well they're cared for. So and the price range. When you're talking a $10,000 to $12,000, $15,000 camper, you're in a price range that it's almost could be disposable. But when you're talking a $40,000 to $50,000 price range, then I may have a year cutoff, and it could be, 2005, 6, depends if diesel, gas, it's a towable. So that's a broad question.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to send me some more details, at the info at the RV Advisor, just to kind of narrow it down to what you're thinking, I can tell you my thoughts of if it's too old or not. So because it's just too many different models and conditions and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know it's contingent on on specifics depending on what you're looking at. If you want to ask Gigi a question, very simple, it's info at thervadvisor.com, and just tag it JAG, JAG, or just ask Gigi. And if you've got a question for her, we'll do our very best to get it answered right here on the Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was sorry, but before I lose my thought, because I do that a lot. I will say this about the age. I don't know if I would buy something too old to not be able to get a warranty on it.
Good point.
So extended warranties, I believe, like we could insure something at, as far back as I believe 20 years. May only get 1 or 2 years, but that might be a crucial component into your decision.
Yeah. All right, very good. Well, thanks, Bill and John. We really appreciate your questions. We're going to take one more quick break, and we'll be back to wrap things up right here on Just Ask Gigi.
The RVACA is a charitable organization protecting the rights of the RV owners. We'll work with dealers and manufacturers to ensure quality control is in place prior to delivery of an RV. Additionally, the RVACA provides assistance to disaster relief victims. Visit rvaca.org.
Wrapping things up here on Just Ask Gigi, along with Gigi Stetler, I'm Tom Alexander. Yeah. So another show put to bed. But before we do that, we want to tell our followers, our listeners, our viewers that the RVACA is out there for you, the consumer, the RV enthusiast, the RV owner. We all know that the dealerships, we all know that the manufacturers have a voice in Washington. We want to get a voice in Washington too, and that is rvaca.org, rvaca.org. You can go there and register your unit. I'll get the mouth working. And of course, if you want to help out, as we've been saying for several months now in the COVID fight, the medical personnel on the front lines, it's very important that they have isolation units in their battle against COVID, which, as we all know, we're seeing numbers spike again, third wave, we're told. Oy. So this is not over, folks, so we could use your help. And if you don't have a unit to lend temporarily, of course, you can make a monetary donation as well at rvaca.org. That's rvaca.org.
Perfect.
That's
it.
it.
Said it better myself.
Oh, I think you could have. Well, that is another edition of Just Ask Gigi. Thanks, Gigi. It's always fun to see you every week. And
I know. I can't wait to.
I know. I hear you.
Really see you.
Absolutely. We want to get back in person, and one of these days we will.
Oh boy.
So we've been saying that for a while now, but it's going to happen. It will. Let's, brighter days ahead.
Yep.
For Gigi Stetler, I'm Tom Alexander. We thank you so much for watching. So long, everybody.